This is a hands-on, no bullshit walkthrough of the different meanings of artificial intelligence for people who do not have a tech background and need a starting point to their AI journey. This video will not be a Mac course. I will not be yapping about supervised and unsupervised learning, robots and neural links, because there are many different things people have in mind when talking about AI. Some use it to refer to math, others to AI tools or agentic coding. Some people think of smart robots taking over the world when the topic of AI comes up. I will breeze through the definitions of AI in the first segment of the video, then focus on the hands-on usage of AI tools with examples. In the last segment, I will discuss suggested next steps for you in your AI learning journey. What is AI to you? Write it down in the comments below before you continue watching this. It will be interesting to compare how you view AI after this walkthrough. I hope and believe that you, after watching this video, feel much more confident in your understanding of artificial intelligence, be it for daily life use, to make an important business decision, training fellow colleagues or students, or to update your resume. Now, I promised you this video is for non-technical people, but I also promised to breeze through the different definitions of AI. The first one is the math part. Despite all the mysticism and grandeur when talking about artificial intelligence, it does boil down to math and programming. I remember studying this stuff back in college. Topics like support vector machines and how to categorize data using supervised versus unsupervised learning. There are a lot of other mathematical and statistical theories underpinning generative AI. Things like linear algebra, probability theory, information theory, and optimization. That is a new term, generative AI, instead of just plain old AI. Generative AI is just a specific type of artificial intelligence, where the key difference is that generative AI is designed to create new content, instead of just analyzing or sorting existing data. So, traditional AI decides, predicts, or classifies. Generative AI creates. What has changed since I studied this stuff back in the days isn't the fundamentals, but the scale. We now have massive datasets, far more computing power, and so-called neural network architectures like transformers that can model incredibly complex patterns. Don't get worried about the lingo. It's not for this lecture, it's just to exemplify what has happened. Large language models are essentially an evolution of these ideas, trained to predict the next token in a sequence over and over again, until language, code, and reasoning start to emerge. So, while generative AI can feel brand new, it's really decades of machine learning theory finally reaching a point where it can be applied at scale. What is also important to understand is the term black box. You might have heard it before. A black box is not something mysterious or magical. It simply means a system where we cannot see how it works on the inside. We can see what we put in, and we can see what comes out, but the steps in between are hidden from us. This might be because the code is proprietary and needs to be kept secret, is too complicated, or just not shared with us. Since we cannot look inside the AI tool's code, we have to figure out how it works by analyzing its output. We try different inputs, look at the results, and use common sense and logic to understand what the system is doing. This way of thinking is used all the time in everyday life. For example, we may not know exactly how a car engine works, but by seeing how the car responds when we, say, press the pedals, we learn how to drive it safely, right? So, a black box is not about mystery, it's about working with limited information. We make the best possible understanding by observing patterns, drawing conclusions, and interpreting the results as carefully as we can. Let's move on to the fun stuff though, the thing most people refer to when saying AI. Generative AI chat tools like Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Claude Code, OpenAI's ChatGPT, and Microsoft's Copilot. There are also other specialized tools like Sora and the Nano Banana for video generation, Lovable for creating websites, Canva AI for printed material, and Figma for visuals, and a lot of other tools. Alright, we have breezed over the definitions of what AI is, and I have already said that the focus will be on AI tools and the practical use of AI. Before we even get started with that though, you need to have access to an AI tool. There are ones that have a free tier or a version with limited features or amount of usage like ChatGPT, Claude, Figma AI. And there are those that are included in software bundles like Copilot. Pick one you want to start off with, create an account, and resume this video when you are ready. You will find the link to all the mentioned AI tools in the description of this video below. Note that the choice of tool and tier for that tool will have an effect on what you can do with it. I'd say don't pay until you actually need to, like when you hit a usage limit or note you are not allowed to use certain functionalities you need. That is not something you need to think about just yet. Now that you have an AI tool at your disposal, let's get started with the most important part of any chat-based AI tool: prompt engineering, also a term you might have already heard of. Prompt engineering is simply the art of writing a request to the AI tool, using human words that the AI code can translate into system instructions, code it can use to create an output that the tool then provides the user with. We mentioned in the previous segment the concept of black box. We can see how the code of the AI looks like, how it takes a user inquiry and turns it into an output expected of the tool. We have to guess as how the code underpinning the tool works. For those who know how to code and have worked with so-called agentic coding and have read the AI model documentation, there is a logic to how one should phrase an inquiry to the AI tools. If you don't know, agentic coding is one of those fancy words for creating more in-depth code surrounding the AI models you see and use in most AI tools. So it is the logic I mentioned on how to write input to an AI tool, the prompting part. Can you learn how to understand it as a non-coder? Of course, I promised you that in the beginning of the video, didn't I? And I mentioned the art of prompt engineering, which is the term to describe this logic. The parts underpinning prompt engineering, the art of writing a good query to the AI tool, are role or persona, context, task, and style. I'm showing you an example on screen of a lawyer needing help with transcribing audio for a meeting. Let's dissect the prompt you see. Putting my coder glasses on, the system sees clarity and segments that give it pretty clear instructions. Contains steps or tasks that can be carried out sequentially, like start by transcribing audio to text. There is a specific code snippet that specializes on that for the AI tool. Tone and style, which is set by specifying what type of role you, the user, have, the role of the AI, and the style of the AI's output. This tells the code where from the library the words should be picked from. The Talk to Children library contains language that is probably very different from the one used by a general counsel, right? Audience. Now, aside from you and the AI, there might be a third party having to deal with the output you create or the AI creates, which will also affect what kind of info the AI tool fetches from its various databases and tools. In our example, it's a board of directors. They are non-technical and senior, meaning they need to digest complex info in a short period of time, so it's important to keep the output short and to the point. Here is an important thing to keep in mind when prompting. The result you get each time you run a prompt may differ. Again, the black box issue. With traditional programming, you can code apps and tools to give you the exact same output when you do something. Like when you click the subscribe button on YouTube, wink wink, you end up subscribing to someone's channel, right? The same action leads to the same output every time. Not so with generative AI, mostly. How to tweak generative AI models is a topic we will discuss in an advanced video. Again, it's a huge step for someone who does not have a technical background to jump on this kind of rabbit hole. So let's pause that for now. Let's go through an example where the goal, roles, and so on are not so clear. Sometimes you just want to wing it and see what you get. I honestly do that myself sometimes. It's not always the case you feel like prompt engineering. Let's go through an example where you are an amateur trader who owns a stock of a company who just dropped its latest annual report, but you don't feel like reading the whole thing and just want it to be neatly summarized. Now, this prompt does not follow the steps we went through before much at all, does it? Very open-ended, the words analyze and compare can mean so many different things. We didn't mention anything at all about the user's financial or trading competences. There's a lot of ambiguity. We are leaving a lot up to the AI to do some guesswork here. So, what did it produce? Let's see. Now, that looks alright. We got some figures on revenue, percentage change from the year before, some assumptions on why the company got the output it did. We got some nice metrics in a table showing percentage changes year on year, sales performance, and a table benchmarking the company against competitors. Note that here, the AI tool searched for info and made a conclusion on who this company's competitors are. We saw a list of key strategic actions the company did in 2024, and the AI tool even added a SWOT analysis and outlook for 2025. A pretty decent output, I would say, given how vague I was, right? Try out projects or tasks that are interesting for you, using a vague kind of prompt, then using the more detailed one with the role, context, style, and task steps. See what you get, learn and iterate. Aside from work-related stuff, these tools can be used to analyze your household finances, help create dashboards, videos for lectures, and so much more. The possibilities are endless, as they say. What do you do now with your newfound powers? Practice, practice, practice. Find new ways in which you can use these tools, be it at work, your studies, or daily life. However, there is a big caveat, an enormous elephant in the room, which we have not addressed yet. So I'm happy you stuck around because this is very, very important. The output you get is not necessarily true or of good quality. Again, we have the black box and the assumptions the AI tools make when interpreting human language instructions to code and what they do with it. We can't see the code they use, but we can sort of know the math. The AI tools work with probabilities and patterns. You will get a best guess, if we can put it that way, from the AI tools. And guesses can, as we know, be very wrong, and quite frankly, pure drivel. I have so many lived examples of very bad output these tools generate. Quite often it's my own fault, me using bad or not so well thought out prompts. Sometimes it's just the black box problem. We are doing our best with the wall black box unfortunately entails. So what am I trying to say? Never ever take the output of an AI tool at face value, especially when you are new and just starting off. It's important you validate the output. With the lawyer example, please don't send out the output to the board before reading it. And with the trading example, please don't make a trading decision based solely on the quick and dirty prompting exercise. Find others in your life that are starting off with AI and share practices. At work, make sure you say prompting guidelines and best practices. And if you are a manager, include AI tools and prompting best practices to your weekly or monthly meetings. When you feel ready or interested, it might be the time to delve into the coding rabbit hole of learning things like algorithm theory, the basis of coding languages, and maybe even starting to play with model application programming interfaces. The stuff that lets you tweak the AI models underpinning AI tools and to behave much more like you want them to, and to use data you want them to use, such as your own database, files, videos, and more. Alright, I hope you found this video educational and that it has been a rewarding first step in your artificial intelligence journey. If there is a topic you want me to cover, please write it down in the comments. As always, please click the like and subscribe buttons to stay tuned on my latest content and news. Thank you for watching.